Ever wondered where medieval castle folks went when nature called? Get ready for a wild ride through the most bizarre bathroom setup in history. From poop chutes to moat disposal, medieval engineers got creative. Really creative. Here's where medieval engineering gets seriously clever. The smartest castle builders used gravity as their secret weapon against the stink. They built these long, smooth stone chutes called garderobes that ran from the top floors all the way down the castle walls. Think of them as really tall stone water slides, except for poop. The higher up you built your bathroom, the faster everything would fall. And where did it all end up? Usually in the castle moat or a dedicated pit they called the cesspit. Some castles even had these chutes built into the thickness of their walls, making them completely hidden from view. It's like medieval stealth technology, but for sewage. Here's where things get weird and kind of genius. Those garderobe rooms weren't just toilets. People actually stored their clothes in there. I know what you're thinking. Gross, right? But there was a brilliant reason. The ammonia from all that pee acted like medieval mothballs, keeping bugs away from expensive clothes. Plus, the ventilation shaft that carried away the smell also kept clothes aired out. Medieval people might not have understood the chemistry, but they knew it worked. Nobles would hang their fancy robes and cloaks right next to the toilet hole. Talk about a multi-purpose room. And yes, that's actually where we get the word wardrobe. It literally means garde-robe in French. Here's a mind-blowing fact that'll change how you see those romantic castle moats forever. They were basically medieval sewage systems. While moats definitely kept enemies out, they had this gross secret double life as giant toilet bowls. All those garderobe chutes, they emptied right into the moat water. The castle residents figured, hey, why not let water carry away the waste? The moat's constant flow would slowly wash everything downstream, kind of like a massive medieval flush toilet. And get this, fish actually loved living in these moats. They'd feast on all the organic waste, creating this weird but effective ecosystem. The fish would end up on dinner plates, which is, well, let's not think too hard about that. Let's zoom in on those mysterious shafts running down castle walls. They're architectural marvels hiding in plain sight. These weren't just simple holes. They were carefully engineered chutes with smooth, angled walls that used physics to their advantage. The designers made them just steep enough so waste would slide down without sticking, but not so steep that the contents would splash back up. They even built clever corners and turns into the shafts to slow things down and prevent any unfortunate accidents. Some castles got super fancy with multiple chutes connecting to a main shaft, like a medieval apartment building's plumbing system. It's basically a 13th century version of our modern sewage pipes. Okay, let's talk about the real nitty-gritty, what medieval people used to wipe. If you were a regular Joe, you grabbed whatever was handy: hay, leaves, moss, even smooth stones. But if you were fancy, oh boy, did you have options. Rich folks used actual cloth, like pieces of wool or linen. The super wealthy even used lamb's wool, which honestly sounds pretty luxurious. Kings and queens, they took it to a whole new level with actual pieces of fabric that someone, probably not them, would wash and reuse. The fanciest castles even had designated wiping rooms with different materials stored in little niches. It's wild to think about, but these solutions actually work pretty well, though I'm definitely grateful for modern toilet paper. Let me introduce you to the unsung heroes of medieval castles, the Gong farmers. These brave souls had what might be the worst job in history, climbing down into castle cesspits to clean out the accumulated, well, everything. They worked at night, thank goodness, armed with shovels and strong stomachs, scooping out years of waste. Here's the wild part, they actually made decent money. The job was so dangerous and disgusting that medieval laws required special pay rates. And get this, some Gong farmers even found valuable stuff people accidentally dropped down the toilet. Talk about a crappy treasure hunt. These folks were literally swimming in gold, and other things we won't mention. Let's talk about how medieval castle designers fought the eternal battle against bathroom stink. They weren't just throwing herbs around and hoping for the best. They had some seriously smart tricks up their sleeves. The castle architects built super tall chimneys above the garderobes that created natural airflow, basically making medieval exhaust fans. They'd also plant aromatic herbs like lavender and rosemary near the windows, so when the wind blew in, it carried fresh scents instead of, you know what. Some castles even had these genius S-shaped vents in the walls that trapped smells while letting air flow through. Think of it as a medieval version of those tree-shaped car fresheners, but way more sophisticated. You might think kings and queens had super fancy toilets, but here's the truth. They dealt with the same basic setup as everyone else. The main difference? Location, location, location. Royal toilets were usually built right next to their bedrooms, often with the best views in the castle, seriously. And get this, using the bathroom was actually a social event for royalty. Kings would sometimes hold court while sitting on their throne, making important decisions while, taking care of business. They also had special servants called grooms of the stool who helped with everything. It was actually a super prestigious job. Sieges really put medieval bathroom habits to the test. When enemies surrounded the castle, those fancy garderobe chutes became a major security risk. Imagine trying to do your business while archers could shoot arrows right up your toilet. Smart defenders blocked up the external chute openings and switched to emergency chamber pots. They'd store these pots in special siege rooms and, this is where it gets wild, they'd actually throw the contents over the walls at attackers. Talk about weaponizing waste. Some castles even had secret emergency chutes that emptied into hidden underground chambers. Medieval castle designers really thought of everything. You might be surprised, but those medieval bathroom designers were way ahead of their time. Modern plumbing actually borrows a lot from castle design, like using gravity to move waste, that's still how your toilet works, and building vents to control smells. Those medieval S-shaped air vents. They inspired the S-bend in your modern toilet, and those hidden-in-the-wall garderobe chutes. They're basically the great-great-grandparents of today's plumbing stacks in apartment buildings. Even the way castles used water flow to carry waste away is super similar to our sewer systems. Those medieval engineers were onto something big. Thanks for joining me on this wild journey through medieval bathroom history. If you enjoyed learning these bizarre facts, smash that like button and subscribe for more fascinating historical discoveries. Share with your friends. They'll never look at castles the same way.